There's about 110 on the reserve. There's 54 houses, I believe. We call it Indian Island because of the island over here, and there used to be our ancestors used to live there and dance there. There was dancing circles on the island, so we sort of lived on a peninsula here, but we called it Indian Island.
That's just where we lived all our lives, along the water. I used to walk around the island, go around the island, picking the arrowheads.
We're surrounded by water mostly, and it's just beautiful. We take pride in the beauty, and we try to take care of it, and keep it clean. And that's why we try to protect it and try to stay here as long as we can before Mother Nature tells us we got to go.
Global warming, and naturally the water rises up, and the storms are getting worse. Some of the shores here are taking a beating. Nor'easters here are atrocious. Luckily that the administration here and the studies they've done realize that we need to do something to protect our reserve here.
We did the sea level rise study. What they did was fly over the reserve. They took the sea level rise as to what it was and how the scientists predicted the melting of the ice caps coming up. They measured the level of the First Nation. And what we found out after the study was done, that Indian Island in possibly 80 years will be underwater just in a high tide due to sea level rise. As soon as we had that study done, a storm surge hit, one of the biggest storm surges in a while, 2 years ago, I believe, just before Christmas. One tip of our reserve was underwater.
The water gets so high, like the last storm was coming right up to the building here.
The water had come up to this gazebo right here. That's how far it came in. So that was the first time we've ever seen that. In storm surges, they might have come up to the lower fence here just a bit, and we've had seaweed on it. But now, that last one 2 years ago that hit us quite hard, buried the fence.
And we had quite an emergency, and it was a scary one, and it was a sad one because it was happened just before Christmas. Some people had their Christmas trees and presents in the basement. Floods occurred, and it was not just our First Nation. It was Eel River Bar and Burnt Church, Restigouche, places like that. That live right on the coast really took a beating. After that storm, we realized we had a really big problem, and that the study that they had done was accurate. When we started to negotiate with Indian Affairs, province of New Brunswick, and saying, we got to do something to protect this First Nation. There's a lot of families here. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Eventually got enough funding to build a whole reserve up. Other communities are looking to what we've done here to adapt.
We started about a year and a half ago, roughly. It started in the spring, the construction of the road and the building up of the rock. So we've built up here. You can see for yourselves how high. I guess it's 12 feet or more, and it's now created a berm. So hopefully this berm holds out the water. So the problem we've created is a bowl. So now for adaptation, we have to start putting in drain pipes, possibly here, possibly down there, possibly over there. We get people walking down to dig clams. Now it's try walking down that. So what we're doing there is to build stairways going down in certain areas. And once that's all built and everything, people can get down safely. We have to adapt with the telephone poles because trucks are going to have a hard time getting under the wires. If we get a heavy snowstorm, children are going to be able to reach the wires. So that's our next phase as far as adaptation is lifting the telephone poles.
We're going to be raising houses so that the basements are not underground, so that if the water does come over or comes up from underneath, they're not flooding. We start to build this new addition to our band office, and we built it higher, above everything else. We're getting ready for storms. In case a storm surge comes in, it won't come into the band office. And it was a good call because the old band office, the way it was, it would have come right into the band office. Now this saved us. You notice the road as you came in, it was dirt. That's probably 6 feet under now. This is our only escape route out of this reserve. How do we get out? You know, when it starts to come over the dikes that we've built up, we're in trouble. We got to escape fast. We've got the province to agree to build up the road, so there's I believe, at least 6 feet built up, and so that gives us an escape route if it comes over.
The last storm, the water was just level. I was just standing there looking at it. I said, "You come up another 15 minutes, and I'm gone. I want to get out of here." Kind of scary.
It's going to be a scary one. We'll have to put people on alert. We have to tell people that a storm surge is coming. Maybe a storm surge that may come over. We have to have people prepared, vehicles prepared. We have to have an emergency plan so that our elders are taken out. Nobody is forgotten. Everybody is safe.
And it's sad to say that we're just buying time, but there's going to be a day when Mother Nature says, no, you can't live here no more. It first starts at federal with Indian Affairs. Indian Affairs has to agree to purchase land elsewhere for us and turn it into a reservation. The provincial government then has to take that land that we purchase and release it to be turned into a reservation. And then we have to take all the studies that they've done with sea level rise and move to a place that we're going to be safe for the next 100 years or so. Our graveyard will be underwater. My mother and my brothers, they're laid out there. My uncles, my aunts, people that grew up with and knowing. I sometimes think about their spirits and what they would say to me. Yeah, move me, leave me here. It's just to disturb their resting place. Do I do that? Do I make that decision? Yeah, dig them up, move them elsewhere. I sometimes try to think of what they would tell me.
I like this place. I was born here. My grandparents were born here, and my father. So I hate to see it go underwater. But I wouldn't live to see it, I know. I'm 85.
Global warming, that's happening. Some of us admit it, some of us realize it, some of us deny it, some of us don't know. Those of us that don't know, those people don't know, we have to approach them in a way that they'll understand, right? And those of us that do realize it is, what is it we're going to do about it? You know what I mean? And this is very important, to share the experience of we're in trouble.
I don't know if I'll see it in my time where Indian Island will be right underwater. Maybe I will. We'll see in the years to come. But it's a sad day because I grew up on these rivers. I grew up fishing them. I grew up on the beaches cooking, and it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to think that, you know, someday I'll have to leave this area.